I remember I was at Melton Maybury, the first Melton Maybury food fair, which was very good. It was in the cattle market. And the day before the actual fair started, this 2-day fair, I had an audience of 500 children, and in 2 lots, morning and afternoon. And I told them the realities of the situation. Children don't need to be coddled. Children are, tough little things. And I told them about why they shouldn't eat McDonald's hamburgers, the fact that Chinese chicken was fed, which is sold as British chicken, was fed on human excrement, although I didn't use the word excrement, and things like that. And I said, go home and talk to your mummies and daddies and make them promise that they will not buy food in supermarkets. And the next day the fair started, and I nearly got lynched by the mummies and daddies. But, I think it's very important to explain things to children. My father, for all his shortcomings, used to explain things to me. And children do understand. Children understand much more than one gives them credit for. And I think we all have a duty and a responsibility to tell them how things are. In the same way that we should be telling the politicians how things are. I went to see the last Secretary of State for DEFRA, Caroline Spelman. Why she was Secretary of State for DEFRA, I don't know, except I suppose it was based on the theory that it did say work in wartime, that you give somebody a job which they're totally unqualified for. She knew about sugar beet. Not a lot of use, and I don't think she did much for sugar beet production. And I told her about Section 36 of the Trade Descriptions Act. Section 36 is the bit of the Trade Descriptions Act that says a product may be named as being of the country where the last thing was done to it. So you get Chilean salmon, probably genetically modified, smoked in Italy, over God knows what, sliced and packaged in Scotland, becomes Scottish smoked salmon. Chinese chickens, and I wouldn't feed a Chinese chicken, well, I might feed it to Tony Blair, but sort of washed in a saline solution and put in a bag in this country, or cut up in some way, becomes British chicken. So, whilst you are trying to buy British, the supermarkets are duping you all the time. And so we owe it to those children to fight. Nobody's saying you can't import. All I'm saying is take out that section of legislation, and they couldn't say it was British unless it was British. And so we owe it to those children not only to tell them, but also to fight to protect them from this situation. And one of these days, I will manage to get somebody to do something about Section 36. And when you start reading about it, will you please all fall into line around me, and we can march on it together? Because it is, I think, one of the most important things for the protection of British farming, and for our children, and for honest food labour.